All right. Well, I'm sitting here with McKinley Vaughan, the great
No, thank you. All right.
McKinley
Thank
Vaughan.
you.
Yeah, I went and saw this guy at the basement, and incredible artist. I work with him too, so I got a
Mhm.
great fortune of working with somebody who's just off the chain. You don't see that too often. They're usually people you work with kind of suck.
I don't know if suck, but dull is typically a word.
The Squidwards.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, having a good day. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at with work. But you're an off the chain guy,
Thank you.
and he was excited that I made the list, so that's good. I mean, I haven't seen any more Russian contacts in the front of the house anymore. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, a few helicopters flying over, but it's all good.
Yeah.
They know who I am. Anyway, well, I came here to ask you. This podcast is called "Get Weird,"
Cool.
because when you walk into a place of authenticity, it usually happens, and you start to get things get a little bit unusual. They're not the same as they were before,
Hmm.
uh, and so it's about getting weird, finding your authenticity, and so. I'm gonna tell you, the best portions of my life have been when life got a little weird, a little strange, a little unusual. So, in that vein, or whatever it might be, I'm just like, okay, my first question for Mr. McKinley Vaughan is,
All right. Deal.
who is McKinley Vaughan, and when did you find him?
Um, that's a great question. I don't I don't think I know who McKinley Vaughan is. I know that I am McKinley Vaughan, and I think I'm on a constant search for who I am.
Right? Okay, that's good.
But it kind of feels like let's see, less of a trying to find this final version of myself, and more that I'm in a boat that is myself flowing down through time. I guess it's just kind of taking it as it goes. I'm like, I don't know if anyone ever really knows who they are.
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no idea.
It's at any time, I think anybody who says like, no, this is who I am, this is the way that things are. It's like, oh, I think you're pretty restricted. Usually those type of people seem to be a little restricted, but
Squidwards.
yeah. But then at the same time, I think there's like, I have a huge respect for people who are like, no, this is me, and you're like, all right, cool, there's your line.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you found it, or you've defined yourself, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, I believe that finding who you are in general is a great thing.
Mhm.
There's some generalities. McKinley Vaughn probably likes music.
Yeah, of
McKinley
course.
Vaughn likes certain artists, but that doesn't mean that that's going to stay that way today. It could change tomorrow,
Yeah.
and which is a beautiful thing. I strayed away. Actually, I do a lot of meditation and things like that. And one day, I was in the meditation, and I was like, "Oh, this is who Jamie Laird is," and God was like, "Really? You're telling me who you are?"
Yeah.
It's like, no. If you want to keep things flowing and changing and getting better, you will not define yourself.
Right.
You will set goals for yourself. You will have visions for yourself. You'll have plans for yourself, but you will not define you.
Mhm.
Because if you have those goals, visions, and plans, then I may have to change who you are for you to get there.
Interesting. Yeah.
And when I say spirit, I mean, to me, God is everything. Like
Mhm.
from this table to the lens,
Right.
it's like we're all energy. And like if we were the stories, God's the book, man.
Yeah.
or spirit's the book. It's not like a dude up there going, "Oh, you're doing this wrong." It's
Right.
more like a flow that's trying to find who's an undefined flow, an unnameable flow that's going from a place of love to a place of love.
Mhm.
So that's the way I look at it. So yes, you might not know who McKinley Vaughn is, and that's a beautiful thing. I love people who like acknowledge that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just cool. So how did you get started in music?
So I mean, music was always in the house growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my dad played trumpet when he was in high school, and then uh, you know, decided to work and have a family and all that. So,
Yeah.
but he loved music, so there was always something going on. Like anytime there was cooking or cleaning, like there was usually a stereo with some loud being played, and of like all types of different genres. So
Oh, that's cool.
it was, anything from like Tower of Power to the White Stripes or Led Zeppelin or
That's awesome,
Godsmack.
man.
Like it was literally anything. Went. Except for rap. My dad wasn't into rap. Yeah. That was like my siblings and I got into that. But
But that was an interesting
that
mix
was
of the
it.
house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when we all turned about 13, 14, he's just like, I don't know, man. But yeah, my dad tried to get us into music, like playing music when we
Hmm.
were really little, and none of us really wanted it.
Really?
Yeah, we kind of were just like, like, because he wasn't actively playing trumpet like when we were kids.
You're right. He
Like at that
wasn't
point,
playing trumpet around the house, right?
no, no. So it was just we all loved music, but none of us played music. Um, and then when I was, I don't know, 14,
Hmm.
I sprained my ankle, and I couldn't get out of the house. And at that point, like my future. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a professional skateboarder. Like
Oh, that was your
that was like
thing.
my thing from like
Uh,
11 to 14. I was like, that
uh,
there's no other path. This is the path. Uh, you know, and and I didn't even sprain my ankle skateboarding. I was like jumping across the thing, and like it was dumb. It felt as dumb as it hurt. And
that stuff's always dumb.
yeah. So, but all that to say that I had a guitar in my room that I just never learned to play, but I bought because I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can't leave the house. I might as well sit and learn how to play this. And then YouTube was still pretty young at the time, but there was nothing but resource on there
Oh,
of
okay.
how to teach yourself. And a relatively new Nashville native, Marty Schwartz, has videos on there.
Okay.
Um, and
That name sounds familiar.
yeah, he's probably the most quote unquote famous guitar instructor on YouTube.
Okay.
He's responsible for so many people playing guitar, and myself included. Um,
Sweet.
and so I sat and just learned how to play, and I wasn't good for a very long time. And
That's a beautiful thing. I love.
yeah,
I mean, I have a respect for bad music, man, and bad singers, and
oh yeah,
I mean because I understand it's part of the process,
mhm,
and it's beautiful. I love confident bad players.
yeah. I remember showing my dad once. And I was like, "Listen to this," and I played a song. He's like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's Brown Eyed Girl," and he's like, "Doesn't sound like it." He's like, "No," he's like, "I'm not saying that's not it. I'm just saying I don't hear it." I'm like, "All right." And so my parents never wanted to be the term that they used was American Idol parents,
Okay.
because if you remember those early days of American Idol, I'm sure I don't really watch it now, but I'm sure it happens now too. But you get somebody who's maybe not that great, but
Hmm.
then the parent in the side interviews is just like, "My kid's the best.
Oh, they're
They're
incredible. Yeah.
incredible." And it's
Yeah.
like, it's great that your kid loves to sing, but not everyone's, you know,
Incredible. Yeah.
incredible. Like, go home, take some lessons, learn how to use your instrument if you got a love for it.
You're right.
Um, but yeah, they didn't want to be affirming a false idea.
They're not the participation trophy parents.
No.
They are. You have to earn this son of a gun.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with that, man. There's
No,
nothing
which
wrong.
which I think is why like I do so well in like a manufacturing setting, is
Oh,
because
okay.
it is like for like my day job is
Yeah.
uh it is like you literally get what you put into it. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think everything in life is very similar, if
I
not the
agree.
same.
I
So
agree.
anyway, long answer to short question. That's how I got started in music.
Okay. I mean, so you got started in the household, sprained your ankle.
Hmm.
At what point was it where you're like, this thing has become part of me, and it's moving me at the moment?
It For a while I was just doing it because it was fun,
Right.
like playing guitar. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of my friends that I used to go out and skate with all the time, he he just showed up in my room one day. I think like
Okay.
my
Okay.
parents just let him in or whatever, and then sees me sitting on my bed playing guitar, and he goes, "This is why you're not coming out all the time?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess." And that was kind of, I think, the first acknowledgement of, oh, this is kind of who I am now. Is I play guitar and I like to skateboard, but that's not my future anymore. And I didn't know what my future was. I didn't know I was going to move to Nashville and try to to make it in music, or whatever. But
Isn't that crazy how like I said, that self definition thing.
yeah,
As soon as you try it, it's like
yeah, it just breaks. Yeah, and also at 15, you think you know everything,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah. They don't understand. I'm the greatest in the world. Yeah.
yeah,
You might not see it yet, but you will.
exactly. Yeah, I have friends that are 21 that are like that. I'm like, all right, like give it 3 years, and you're gonna be a different person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the to me, the whole thing is not the press for fame, success, popularity. To me, the press is to make good music that
Absolutely.
you enjoy. It doesn't matter if
Yeah.
anybody else enjoys it.
Mm-hmm.
The press is to make good music, to spend time where your craft moves your soul,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where you find the dividends.
Oh yeah, I think I believe I was listening to Brandy Carlisle talk about this, where she
Mm-hmm.
said that um, I can't remember if someone I'm probably misremembering, but
Mm-hmm.
how I remember it is that someone told Brandy Carlisle like just focus on writing honest music, and so that's what she did. And
Mm-hmm.
whether and while maybe in the beginning it wasn't like what everyone wanted to hear, it all worked out
Yeah.
because she wrote stuff that was true to her and honest to her, and that what she loved because it was honest. And now she's like touring the
Yeah.
world,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
playing some of the best music, and you hear other people copying her sound now because
She's
she's
original.
she's original. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It was that whole quote. All of us are born originals, but most of us die copies.
ooh, I've never heard that, but that's good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as you see people in success, I don't think that we're brought into the world so we can become like somebody else. I believe that we all have a unique gift to give or to contribute to or whatever it might be. And I think that we miss those unique gifts when we start worrying about what other people would enjoy, unless it's bringing
Mm,
something out of other people that you would like to see brought
right.
out. But if you're worried about what other people are going to enjoy about what you do,
Hmm.
personally, I'm not talking about like work and things like that. I'm talking about your music, your art, your
Hmm.
whatever. If you're worried about like, oh, so and so didn't like that. Now there's honest criticisms like you have too much red.
Hmm.
And you're like, oh yeah, maybe I do.
Right. Yeah.
But there's other criticisms like your stuff just doesn't move me. Well, it doesn't have to. It wasn't designed to. It was designed to move me. And
Hmm.
does it if it moves you, then you like, I'm not changing much.
Right.
There's not always room to improve, but once you start, and this world does this to people, improve on this little thing, improve on that little thing, improve on this little thing, and
Hmm.
then sooner or later you start becoming that copy, and you don't,
Yeah.
and they've improved you to look just like that guy over there.
Right.
And it's like, no, who wants to do that, man?
Yeah.
So, like I said, this whole process that you've gone through with you got your friends and they're pressing in, and then so when did you exact? What was the exact point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna perform on stage?
Um. See, I'm trying to remember. It was so long ago now, but like
You're so old, man.
I'm not. I'm actually very young.
I'm not messing with you.
Yeah, I know. But at this point, it is almost it's coming up on 20 years. Like
What?
like
How old are
I'm
you?
30. So
Wow.
so I mean
10
like
from age 10?
from age 10, that's like when you start finding your identity and you're like, this is who I am, right?
Right.
And then pretty quick, that next 5 years is just so much development that happens between
Right.
10 and 15. And so just kind of within that spot. So maybe not 20 years, but more like 15. But still, it's a whole human being in between me and who I was. And so,
Well, just to relate to that story just a
yeah.
little bit. Okay, I got to tell you, this is probably one of the dumbest things that you're ever going to hear. When
Okay.
I was like 7 years old, man. I was not a ham. I was the whole pig, right?
Mm, right.
So I made so much noise and acted so goofy, and this is I'm doing this podcast for me because I've missed so many opportunities to do so many things because I worried about what other people
Yeah.
wanted from
Of
me.
course.
So anyway, when I was 7, 8, 10, and I was in Gosnell, Arkansas, at Blytheville Air Force Base. I used to get up in front of, and I was such a ham. They just gave me a stage.
Mm-hmm. They're just like, he's gonna do it
They,
anyway.
they
Yeah.
gave me a stage and asked me to get it in front of the class and sing and
Right.
all kinds of stuff. And so here recently, one of my friends, I told you about Bev,
Mm-hmm.
Bev Rainey. She's the night does nights with Bev Rainey. She does that on 103.3 here in Nashville, which is great. So watch it if you can. Anyway, her and her sister came, and her sister looked at me. I said, "We're gonna go sing some karaoke because I like karaoke."
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Could you sing Tutti Frutti?" And I was like, "That was the song I sang when I was 7 years old
Yeah, yeah.
in front of a class." So it's like when I think back to it, I've been doing like karaoke and singing and stuff like that for the last 6 years. But when I go back, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
when I go back to 7.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was weird having a grown woman that was 50 years old tell me, "Could you sing Tutti Frutti?"
Right.
I'm like, "Oh wow. Oh wow." Anyway, so yes, I identify with your 20-year journey. I got a 30, almost 40-year journey,
Oh, nice.
which is
Yeah.
insane.
Right.
It's longer. It is 40 years. That's even scarier.
Right.
And I never pressed into that until this stage of my life
Mm-hmm.
because everybody was like, "Nah, you can't do anything. You can't make money doing that." And
Right.
I was like, "Ah."
Yeah, but then now we're in an age where that's kind of what it is. Is no, like go find the thing that you like to do and go do it. And
Do it
you know,
anyway.
yeah, exactly.
Do it and keep on doing
Right.
it. Do it till you're satisfied.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. So, um, where are you from originally?
So I'm from Utah, the Salt Lake City area, a little north of that.
Oh,
And
I like the Mormon folk.
yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
And
used to be a Mormon.
oh,
Anyway.
really? Oh, that's crazy. Small world.
Yes, yes. I used
Yeah.
to be a Mormon. Long story on that.
Mhm.
Everything in my life is a long story.
Aren't all stories?
It's like I took the machine gun approach to life.
Mm,
If you take a shot at everything, and maybe something will stick.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So Utah.
Utah, yeah. Uh, Born and raised. Little stint where I lived out of the country when I was like 13, 14,
Mm-hmm.
and then moved back to the same house, and
Okay.
basically, and then the rest of my, you know, life I was there. We moved the city over right after I graduated. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm an adult now. I'm gonna go and find my own apartment. I'm gonna move. My parents were like, we're gonna move into this bigger house where you can have like the whole basement to like play music in. I'm like, I'm gonna stick with my parents, and
I'm a man. I'm taking the basement.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, and then at that point, I was already like uh, knew I was gonna be a musician, so I
Mm-hmm.
was just facilitating it. And I was like, okay, this is staying at home was the best way to facilitate it.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah. I mean,
and
in this economy, anyway.
right, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then of course, you move out, you
Mm-hmm.
get a girlfriend or whatever. You're like, oh, I think I love her, and then you're moving back home. The parents are like, didn't love her, right? Guess she wasn't the one.
That's a give. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the girl that you're gonna marry in your 20s is like, come on.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, not luckily, but never. Whatever. What's the phrase I'm looking for? Never went and got married.
Yeah.
Never did the whole thing.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was usually ended before that, so it was like sweet.
Sweet never got engaged.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
exactly.
never got engaged. I didn't. I got engaged a few times. Like I said,
Hey,
machine gun.
when you know it, yeah. When you think you know it,
Oh well, I mean, I got asked a couple of times,
Hey,
and
congrats.
yeah, I was like, I knew how a girl felt. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with this ring? I was like, no, yeah. I ended up saying no to that proposal. It was
Mhm.
sweet, all of them very sweet people. But man, when you know that you don't know,
Right.
I'd rather err on the side of caution as life goes forward because
Oh, yeah.
building a life on shaky foundation is probably not wisdom.
No, and I was definitely what's the brainwashed by rom-coms growing up. I have a young sister,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
like we.
You said leave
Oh
you
my
out.
gosh, I'm like I love a good rom-com.
Me too, man.
Yeah,
Me too.
and so like growing up, like I was just loved hard, and so it's like I think she's the one. I'm like, you met her yesterday,
Uh-oh.
so you gotta chill. Like, what are you talking about? So it's always the hardest breakup, the hardest fall, like you know what I mean, or whatever. And it's like
Don't you think that like when you're young, that dramatics is just part of it?
it definitely is.
I mean,
Everything's the end of the world.
everything's the end of the world, or the love is like this is the one true love I'm gonna find in my life.
Yeah.
And the older you get a little bit more. I mean, yeah, love is real, but you get a little bit more pragmatic about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, does it facilitate all of my personal and emotional needs? And am I in a place for me to put that facilitation in somebody else's hands?
Yeah.
And as you get older, you're like, I'm not putting my happiness. I love my wife, I love my kids. I'm not putting my happiness in anybody's hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you get smart, that way, if something's going on with them, it's like, oh, you're not being as nice. No, it doesn't matter. I'm like, oh, that's not working right today. I'll see you later.
All right. Yeah.
I love you. And if you need help working through that, I'm going to be there for you. But I'm not putting that I have to make you happy on there. I would like to make you happy, but I don't have to. And I would like for you to make me happy and do things for me, but I don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. I should be finding thoughts and feelings within myself that make me me.
Right. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
if two people meet that are on that same wavelength, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
It's like we don't need each other. Woo, we get to be with each other. We don't need to be with each
Yes,
other.
exactly.
Yeah, so that's where it is. But you know how all those weird things go. So when did you move to Nashville and start doing shows?
So at that point, that was I've been here for like 2.5, a little longer than that, 2 years now, and I was playing with my friend Carver, playing guitar for him. We were pretty much playing everywhere you could in the West, like going to Vegas, Idaho, California. We were touring around, and he was spending a lot of time in Nashville. He was flying back and forth recording, and he's like, it makes more sense for me to be in Nashville and fly out west than it does to what I've been doing.
You keep on going, yeah.
And so that went on for his whole process. Kind of took about a year to get from like, here's my announcement to I am now in Nashville. And about halfway through that, I asked him like, "Hey, when are you going?" And he's like, "You want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And because
cool.
I sat, kind of thought about it to myself, like, if he goes, not that like my cash cow goes, but like the golden goose is flying south, and I got to go with it.
Gotta get the eggs.
Yeah.
Gotta get the eggs.
No, but it was like, because I wrote my own music on the side and everything, and I'm like, it's just gonna be a better atmosphere for me, for success, whatever that means, if I'm surrounded by like-minded individuals, which is exactly what Carver was doing, to go surround himself with like-minded individuals. So yeah, I was like, all right, that's it. That's it. At that moment, basically, I hung up the phone. I was like, I'm moving to Nashville.
Sweet.
And yeah, it didn't work out the way, like, obviously, you plan things or whatever, and it never follows that plan. Some people are able to follow it to a T, and never in my life has it ever been that way.
I like that we're talking about it, because it's like nothing works out exactly the way you planned it.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I don't think anybody is like what's this, Lao Tzu that wrote the Tao Te Ching?
Oh, I don't know.
Lao Tzu, he was an ancient philosopher, and he talked about the way of the Tao. In the way of the Tao, everything flows in this direction, and you learn to pay attention to it, so you know when to go here and when to go there. You watch the way energy flows.
Yeah.
But most of us are not him, and we'll make a plan, and the energy goes over there, and we're like, "Whoa, gotta drop everything, go over there." Like, then you start building up everything over here, and then like the energy goes over there, and we're like, "Oh, we're 10 steps behind where the flow in our life is going," but we're smart enough at a certain point to notice that it is.
Yeah.
And so it's like we may build everything up here, and then like blah blah blah, and then have to move somewhere else, which is a cool thing, to have the strength and thought and everything to do that. But yeah, nothing ever worked out like it's planned. So yeah, that's just cool, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
People need to know that they're not the only ones.
no, for sure. It's yeah, and thinking back to an earlier discussion we had is like my friends who are in their early 20s who think they have like this is exactly how everything's gonna work out, and I'm like, yo, if everything went the way I wanted it to when I was 21, life would not be great right now. like
Right, right.
retrospectively, I made the right
Yeah,
decisions.
you're right, right. What was good at 20 is not good now.
No, exactly. Yeah, you got to be thinking for your future self. Like, hey, what's gonna, you know, pay off down the road? Maybe it's not as nice now, but
Right.
yeah,
Well, I mean, having somebody, for example, when you're 20, you just want this one person to basically worship you.
yeah. You want someone to be like, you're the best every day,
Every day.
And if you're like me, you were telling them, hey, you're the best, like every day, and then they're like, okay.
Yeah, well, you're thinking in your mammalian brain, male brain, you're the best, and if I keep on doing this to you, then you're gonna do it to me, and we're gonna do it to each other for forever. You're the best. No, you're the best. No, you're the best. No, you're the best.
Right.
And then it's like, when do you get to think about yourself? And that,
Yeah.
it's like you eventually you're gonna have to deal with all this.
Yep.
And when they say, you know what, you're not so great, you're like, you have no comeback.
Yeah. Like, oh, I guess I'm not. Whoops.
Whoops. And
Yeah.
then like, I'm leaving you because you're not so great. And then you got to go through the real life blues. I'm not so great.
I'm so great. Yeah.
I need to work on me.
Which is like, great having music in that situation, because then it's like you have this outlet of like the, my baby left me. You know what I mean? Like literally picking up the blues. It's like you get to write a bunch of really crappy songs your family has to listen to every day as you cry through your terrible song. And it's like,
that's a beautiful
but
thing.
it works to then eventually you get to write really good breakup songs, and you can tap into those emotions. You got to feel it before you can't fabricate those emotions.
That's true.
And so,
I mean, yeah, I've been through the crappy emotions and breakup songs. It's good to talk like emotions when it comes to like when you have my baby left me and all that stuff, and then you start writing good songs to actually convey all that.
Right.
Is that kind of like some of your motivation to touch people with your music?
No, which I think most people would say yes, of course, but
that's why I'm asking.
For me, it's not like it's. For me, it's one. How can I convey the emotion that I am feeling in a way that I find listenable? Kind of like what we were saying earlier. You got to write for what you enjoy, right?
Right.
And if I worry about trying to connect with people, then I'm writing something that's not true to myself. Like it kind of goes into the whole like pandering to different audiences or whatever. And so for myself, if I'm writing a song based on an emotion or a way that I feel, so let's convey that first. Right. And then if later I go back, I'm like, you know what, I think it would actually turn the song into a catchy song if I change this or that. So it's not changing the character of the song more than I'm just improving upon the song later on.
Right.
But yeah, no, I don't really write
clarifying.
Yeah. I think the people who are gonna connect with my music will connect with it.
Oh yeah, they'll connect with you.
Yeah, and so it's finding your audience. It's you know what, I'm gonna write for me, and the people who relate to that will find it. You know what I mean?
That's very cool. I mean, like I said, I love your music.
Thank you.
It's original. It's powerful. Moves you from the inside. A lot of things move you from the outside, and then you find out that you're like moving to, mom spanked the chicken, and you're like, what? Yeah. And then you're walking around, spank the chicken, and everybody's like, everybody's an idiot, and I don't like music that does that gets you to move externally, but I like music that moves you from the inside and causes you to come to a state. And then, like I said, you said you don't write to connect with a crowd, but when you're right, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
That forced me to connect with you in that moment. I connected with you rather than you connected with me.
Oh, well,
And
thank you. Yeah.
so because I'm walking around, it'll be
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, wow. He's bringing something that's similar to him up in me,
Hmm.
and that's a good point of connection with music and anything. I mean, that's why I was like, and then you're an incredible guitar player on top of
Oh,
that.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this dude. See, this interview could be like $1 billion interview because like I'm catching you on the front end. Okay.
I yeah, I don't know, but I hope. Like, let's be real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, we're and just like this whole thing is like I said, it got weird at some point in time.
Mm,
It got weird when you started connecting with your vision and where you wanted to go. When your buddy, like the cash cow, was moving,
mhm,
I got to go to Nashville, and then it's like when you're on these Nashville stages. When was the point where you start playing for your buddy and
mhm.
started deciding to step out and play a little bit for yourself?
It's I had always wanted to put out my own music. Like I always wanted to be like when I started to actually be able to play, I
Mm-hmm.
was like I wanted to like Jimi Hendrix was one of my huge influences.
Love Jimmy,
And
man.
so, and his book Room Full of Mirrors, well it's not his, but it's about him. Um
Yeah.
it I read it, I don't know, probably 17 times in high school.
Oh
Like I
wow.
loved that book. And the whole thing was just basically about like, this guy just wanting to do his thing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Find his
that's
authenticity,
yeah,
right?
exactly. and
Right.
and I wanted to do that basically from the get-go when I knew I wanted to be a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And but I didn't have all the pieces ready. I had the guitar kind of there,
Mm-hmm.
but like the singing was not good and
Yeah.
my songwriting
I,
was
I
worse. And
I love all the bad, man. The bad makes
yeah,
it good,
it was
man.
bad. And my dad always had this line. He's like, Eric Clapton didn't sing for a while. And I was like, "Jeez, man, it's
I love that
like,"
one.
and he was trying to be helpful, but like
Yeah.
everything to this day, I'm like, "That's a great burn. That's crazy." And so, like, I, you know, once I got to the point where I felt like I could write something that was listenable, it
Right.
was like, okay, like I have this where I play guitar for people, and then on the side when I have free time, I'll write for myself
Right.
and do that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That you decided that you'd write on the side. You'd write for yourself. I've done a lot of recording with people.
Mhm.
I love music in the whole. I love media. I guess what it comes down
Yeah.
to. This is new to me, but I love media. But just the process that you can capture thoughts, emotions, people all together, and then you like can record it and manipulate it and all kinds. That's just the coolest thing in the world. But I've always done that in a support role
Mhm.
for a lot of people. And I used to make beats and stuff like that. Then I stepped out, tried to do my own rap thing back in the day. It was
Mhm.
terrible. And then it got good. And then I was like, by the time it got good, I just quit doing it.
Mhm.
I lost the flavor for it because I was so used to being support. So
Mhm.
that's like a beautiful thing. Support people, man. It's like you don't understand. Nobody gets it,
Yeah.
man.
Well, and the coolest thing for myself is that like my band
Hmm.
is filled with, I mean, aside from the drummer, this is the first time I've worked with him and he's fantastic, but the everyone else are people that I played for, that I play in their bands.
Oh, that's
So it's
awesome,
yeah,
man.
so it's like my friend Carver plays acoustic guitar for me. uh Liam Wally plays keys for me, and they're both killer artists. My friend Drew, who produced Be All Right,
Okay.
um he was the frontman of his own band FKB from Canada, and they're spectacular.
Right.
Um, and so it's like all these people that I supported, at one point
Oh,
through
that's awesome,
different
man.
ways, are now playing for me. And then my roommate Easton,
Uh huh.
he's a killer artist as well, and we played together in bands back in high school, and he was like the front man, and I was playing guitar for that. So,
Wow.
um, and now they're all in my band. So it's this kind of like circular thing
Yeah.
where it's like I'll still play guitar for them when they need it,
Yeah.
but then they're like, yeah, well, you were here for us, so we're going to be here for you.
Man,
And
that's
now I've got this
beautiful, man.
killer band of all frontmen that
Right.
so everyone has that that thing that makes them an artist, and it's like I can't believe I'm up front right now. This is insane. And so, but it's not to interrupt, but I was it's kind
No,
of it's cool.
no, you're not interrupting at all. I was just like the support factor. See, what you're experiencing right now is not what many people get to experience.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the support people, and then they're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So the caliber of people that you surrounded yourself with is definitely high, and they have an appreciation for you. That's a beautiful thing, and I'm just saying, don't take that for granted, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
people out there, especially with music, that, like, oh yeah, that guy over there. They trade musicians like baseball cards.
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh, you got a drummer? Oh, okay, I got a drummer.
Yeah.
But these guys have really supported you, and you're on the support bullet train, which,
It definitely feels like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that makes a difference. Like with your music, your live performances are incredible. Um, just for a starting artist, I was like, when I saw you guys come out, and I was like, I did know that it was a whole band full of frontmen.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it.
Oh, thank you.
I felt
Yeah.
it. I felt it. I was like, all these guys are like in there, and again, comes back to authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
All of these guys have stepped into their uniqueness, and they're all happy and fine with everybody being their own unique selves, each individual. You
Mm-hmm.
guys are like the village people that can play.
Hey, don't knock the Village People, all right?
Hey,
YMCA is a great song.
YMCA is
Yeah,
a great
Macho
song.
Man, get out of here.
But it's like the
Yeah,
Indian, the
yeah, yeah.
construction
We all
worker.
do our own, right.
Everybody's doing their own thing, and
Mhm.
then you come together and you make this incredible sound that does
Right.
something.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's like the village people with instruments.
Yeah. 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 Okay, I'm with you now. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were like Village People, but good.
No,
I was like,
no,
whoa.
no, no, no,
No.
no.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that was a band full of everybody from different genres.
Right.
Yeah, and then and yes, I don't know what they played or did in the studio,
Mm.
but you saw these different groups, and they were all represented, and everybody's doing their own. It's like, when you saw the bands from the '70s and '80s and all of that stuff, everybody dressed the same.
Mm-hmm.
I got a buddy of mine that was in Striper.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tim Gaines.
Okay.
He was the bass player.
Right.
Yeah, I worked with him for like 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw them; they're all dressed in the yellow and black and with the hair and
Yeah.
all that. They were a band, and that their togetherness was defined by something on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, everybody was different and unique, but your togetherness was defined by what was coming together on stage.
Right.
And that was like, bam. And I was like, that is it right there. That's what everybody should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Letting everybody do their thing, like a full band full of people that are expressing their authenticity. And that's what makes the sound beautiful. Coming together around the sound and coming together around you, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff. Well, you got anything else you'd like to tell the group out there, man?
Listen to my music. Yeah. Other than that, because when does this come out?
It'll be in February. I'm not sure.
Okay, so
yeah.
I don't know what I will have booked by then.
Well, tell them your venues that you use, like those. I looked you up on Spotify and checked out several of your songs.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Yeah, I'm anywhere you find music. So Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, whatever. Under McKinley Vaughan, VAUGHAN. A lot of people omit that last A.
yeah, okay.
But it's like Stevie, not Vince. But
right.
yeah, and then around town, just if you follow me online at McKinley Vaughan Music, I'm pretty much only active on Instagram.
I understand.
And yeah, but I usually post anything that I'm doing there. February 20th, I'm playing, I believe, at the local for a Nashville tour stop. It's around. And so I'm doing that. Yeah, and then just I'll keep everyone posted online.
Oh yes, I will. I will.
I
will put little links and stuff like that to your
cool.
information up once we get everything up and going. Do you want to play a song for the crowd, or you?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, all right. We'll be back. That McKinley.
I think I'm done. Thought I was born to run. Now I'm staring at the sun, waiting for it to change. I used to smile, used to dream of life after high school, when I had nowhere to go and drive to. Things have changed. I'll escape, find a place to relate. I've been stuck in a feudal state. Have I always been? Break me, bring me to the other side. Take me, tell me you can change my mind. Funny how you find you're missing what you try to leave in the distance. Break me, I'm older now, but not grown up. Take me, I was now known for giving up. Funny how you find I'm missing what I tried to leave in the distance. Searching for something, a reason to burn out and blossom. The weight of the world is colossal when your heart is chained. So who am I? And what have I become? Am I still that little boy who's on the run? Break me, bring me to the other side. Take me, tell me you can change my mind. Funny how you find you're missing what you try to leave in the distance. Break me, I'm old now but not grown up. Take me, I'm never known for giving up. Funny how you find you're missing what you try to leave in the distance. I only wanted to stay. I only wanted to change. Break me, bring me to the other side. Take me, tell me you can change my mind. Funny how you find you're missing what you tried to leave in the distance.